Hi and Merry Christmas. Um, yeah, it's been a while since I've recorded a video, and you know what? I thought, and you know what happens, right? It's a funny thing. When I get into a routine of recording a video at least once a week, then I have no problem um, keeping up with it. I don't even know how to describe it. But I skipped a weekend. I think I only skipped a weekend. And mainly because it was the darkest weekend of the year. Literally, it's because if you've been watching me for 5 minutes, you know here it's Cinema Verite, it's daylight. Not that I've tried with indoor lighting and failed. Um, anyway, here we are. So I just thought I'd do a little Christmas ramble. Um, I hope wherever you are, whatever you're celebrating this time of year, that you've found a way to celebrate it. Is what I'm trying to say, right? A lot of us are unable to see family members. Some of us are unable to see our parents, because of the pandemic. But I did think like something did cross my mind this week. It's like, oh my gosh, we made it to Christmas, and I remember growing up. One of the favorite sayings of my dad's generation and the generation before him was, oh, if we make it till Christmas, we're doing okay. Well, we made it till Christmas, so I think we're doing okay. We're doing the best we can, right? Anyway, so I just want to come on and let you know that, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still going to be making videos. And, but I am giving myself a gift this year. I am going to give myself a break from. Sorry, my hair got caught in my glasses. I have to adjust myself because it's not one of my videos if I don't adjust myself in my seat. I'm gonna give myself a gift this year. I'm gonna be pulling back from quite a bit of social media. I'm gonna be pulling back from my social media presence on quite a few platforms. I've already deleted some platforms. And I'm probably gonna just stick to the main three that I use: YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for friends and family. I'm gonna make myself and my moderator will continue to maintain the Ruse Kitchen Facebook group. But my presence there is probably not going to be. My presence there is going to be a little sporadic, is what I'm trying to say. I really I'm feeling the need to unplug, people. I need to unplug. Now, I love YouTube. I love recording these videos and engaging with you in the comments. But I have to say that after 2020 and the retail therapy of 2020 and the whole deck thing, and I don't think I'm gonna be watching the latest and greatest deck unboxings for quite some time. Just because now that I'm recovered, now that I'm recovering or recovered from the madness of the deck accumulation of 2020, and I've rehomed almost all the ones that I'm hanging on to a couple because in the comment sections in some of my videos, I caught a glimpse of some people had asked me if certain decks were available, and I'll be reaching out to you. If you left a comment and said, hey, are you wanting to rehome whatever, if I still have it, I'm going to be reaching out to you. I know this is a ramble, people. It's been a while since I've been on in front of the camera, right? So, and I have a lot have a lot of things going on and a lot of thoughts. But mainly the whole 3 months of releasing stuff. And it wasn't just decks. It was a lot of stuff. It was there was the physical objects. The majority were decks, and then there were books and you know, tchotchkes, like, you know, witchcraft decor and that kind of stuff, right? And even stuff that wasn't witchcraft. Yeah, so there was that, right? So there was a physical release of all those things, objects, especially books. I found that, yeah, I did get rid of, you know, the decks were a given, right? It's like, you know, for me, decks are magical. Decks, I need to bond with them. I need to have a relationship with them. And I had accumulated so many that just were not for me. Yeah, I discussed this in other videos. I'm not going to go into detail here, but there's FOMO, fantasy self, and all that jazz. But it was nice to go through my bookshelf and also weed out some books that no longer resonate. I like that term, resonate, because it's a sound, right? It's related to sound, sonare, resonate. And where was I? Oh yeah, books. So I weeded out a bunch of books, and which made room for new books. And probably on my channel, I'll probably be talking more and more about books going forward as well. I'll still be talking about decks. I still don't get me wrong. I still love tarot. I still love cards. I'm just not going to be probably acquiring many new ones. I think it's clear to me, like from a previous video, that that for me, depth here is a natural state, and I realized that I was originally the kind of person that had one functioning tool for whatever, for divination, and that worked for me. I wasn't someone who needed more, and I went to a place that wasn't really me, and it feels good to be me again, but having had that experience. So, you know, it's like when you go through something, and again, you know what that was escapism. Come on, let's, you know, I'll call it what it is. We have the pandemic, and you know, my existence, like many of yours, becomes very limited in terms of what we're doing and where we're going. And deck shopping was escapism. Watching tons and tons of unboxing videos was escapism. We live in the information age. You know, I'm watching a flip through in one window, and I'm opening up a second and third window to do research, and then to find out where I could purchase it. And next thing you know, it's the email notification that you know, my order's been placed and its shipping is in my inbox. I'm not going to, you know, I don't beat myself up about it. So if you're out there and you're having a similar experience, don't beat yourself up about it. It's a learning experience. And my friend said that, well, you know, for the cost of all those decks that she spent on the value in the takeaway lesson from all this, the personal growth, learning about yourself, all that stuff is money well spent. In terms of, it's money that, you know, would have been spent on a therapist or something like that. And that's in the case for someone who can afford it. For someone who cannot afford to be, you don't need all these freaking decks. Okay, these videos where people are telling you need something, don't believe them. None of it is true. You know, if you're interested in tarot, you only need, sorry, I'm noticing my hands are staining from a recent edging job. Sorry, tangent, squirrel, I apologize. Where was I? Don't listen And I know it's hard. I know it's hard because the FOMO monster, man, FOMO doesn't have claws. FOMO has tentacles. And FOMO gets a hold of you. I've actually heard people describe where they dream about a deck. Of course you dream about a deck. You're watching you're watching YouTube videos. These images become impressed on your subconscious. Of course you're dreaming of a deck, and of course because you dreamt of this deck, you're thinking that you need to go out and get it. You don't need all the stuff people are telling you you need. It's like any other kind of advertising. And you know what I mean? It's like, be mindful, discern, know that myself included, I am an influencer to some respect. I'm not sent stuff by publishers and all that to review, but be rest assured that I will always divulge, always be straightforward and honest with you if I received a book or a deck for review. To this date, I've never received a deck for review. So rest assured of that. But I will always be transparent. I'm on occasion asked to endorse books of other authors, which is always a grand honor and a pleasure. And as a thank you, the publisher will send me a gratis copy of the book. And I will always, always let you know that if it's a gratis copy, thank you very much. A cup of tea. Ooh, you could see the steam from my tea. It's Celestial Seasonings, gingerbread, something, festive, seasonal. All right. Celestial Seasonings, I think I said. Not sponsored. I bought this at the supermarket. Or through Amazon or something. All right. But rest assured that I will always be transparent. And I also choose what I accept to review. For instance, I see these end of the year videos floating around where some channels have reviewed a book, saying that they were approached to review it. Well, I think we were all hit up to review that book, and I declined. I flat out declined. I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to say something positive about it. I wasn't going to find value in it, so I just outright declined. But that's yeah, okay, that was a bit of a ramble, but I just want you to know, because see, I'm very sensitive to this now. Having been through 2020 with the whole escapism through retail therapy and all this stuff, I'm very and lots of people lost their jobs this year. Let's call it like it is. There are lots of people that are out of work this year because of this freaking pandemic, and you're watching YouTube and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I need that deck. You do not need that deck. You don't need anything. You know what you need? You need peace of mind. That's what you need. You need peace of mind. You need to feel safe. You don't need any of the garbage not garbage, but you know what I mean? You don't need any of the things that we're showing you in our videos. And I'm happy to just hang out with you and talk about other things. And if there's other stuff you want me to talk about, please share in the comment section. I already have a list. I have a description on my About tab on my channel, and I haven't even touched those subjects yet. But I think I'm going to start exploring my other interests, and maybe talk a little bit. I think it's time to talk a little bit more about folk magic and earth-based spirituality. Excuse me. So, I don't know if anything I said made sense. But what I wanted to say is that I'm very sensitive now to how we're influenced by the videos we watch. and how we end up buying a whole bunch of shit we don't need. And honestly, and find out even that we don't even like. And I have to tell you, it takes a lot of effort to rehome things like decks, because, well, you don't want to just drop them off somewhere where you don't want to drop off tarot cards at, let's say, Salvation Army, where someone who feels that they're evil decides that they're gonna go burn it. It's gonna be a dumpster fire, because that's a waste. They could have otherwise have reached someone who needs them, right? So it takes. I gotta tell you, it not only did it cost money to purchase these decks, but then, if you want to responsibly rehome them, time, effort, mileage, all these things, time, effort, mileage, postage, but mostly the effort. See, because honestly, I'm like happy to rehome them properly by whatever means, but the effort. And and then it's that whole sitting with, how did I get here, right? Okay. So that's enough about that. And in the comments section, did you I know some of you have already commented that you're experiencing the deck overwhelm. You've accumulated a large quantity of decks. Collectors, I'm gonna say something controversial, people, but I really don't care. I speak my mind, right? Collectors are few and far between. Okay, there are people that are collectors, and a collector will buy everything because what they have is literally an archive of everything that they've been able to get their hot little hands on of that subject matter. So that's a true collector. It's someone that goes to auction to get rare and important, historically important artifacts of their favorite subject matter. The rest of us buying all these decks, we're just consumers. We're just consumers. We buy a whole bunch of stuff we don't need. Now, I remember during my depth year, there's people who, if you're triggered by what I'm saying, you really, I wanted to do a side note. If you're triggered by any conversation about deck overwhelm, too many decks, too much compulsive shopping, impulse shopping, FOMO, and fantasy self, if this is triggering to you, you need to ask yourself why it's triggering to you. Because if it's triggering, that means that it pokes a sore spot in your being. If it triggers you, it's because there's something there you're relating to and you're not willing to face. So there's my side note. Or like they say in Italian, there's a parenthesis. There's my comment in parentheses. All right. So what did I want to? Oh, I wanted to share with you some deck mods and some decks I'm enjoying working with. Some deck mods and and one deck mod that I realize is really irritating me, and I wished I'd never done it, even though it looks really great. I finally edged in my Tarot of the Crone in black. And I love a deck that's edged in black when it has black borders. And look at this, it has nice plain black backs. This is Tarot of the Crone by Ellen Lorenzi Prints. I believe Arnell Art is printing a new batch of these. Go to darkgoddess.com. I think it's the Dark Goddess. Search Ellen Lorenzi Prints. Go on her website, and these are currently for pre-order. I think there's going to be a limited run of them. I love this deck, and after having it and I got it because, oh my God, this wonderful, wonderful person who I'm sure is working hard. Okay, I'm going to say your first name because it's no one's gonna know, right? Marie-Josée, I can imagine. I can imagine how hard you're working, and I want to send you a little love because I can imagine how hard you're working during pandemic. All right, so a viewer had contacted me, and she had both the Dark Goddess and this one, and she, anyway, I love it. But this week I decided, you know what, I'm finally going to edge it in black. Even though I had reservations about edging it in black because it's got this really smooth cardstock. And I don't know if you could see it, but it's turning my hands. Like it's staining my hands. And it's a pet peeve of mine when I edge a deck and it stains my hands. So I'm going to have to oh, look, I missed a couple of spots. Anyways, I'm going to have to what I usually do is I take one of these cotton crocheted coasters and give it a good, yeah. But this is Tarot of the Crone. And this surprised me. See, I had put the word out that I wanted it, and then this beautiful lady made it possible for me to have both this and the Dark Goddess. And this one totally surprised me because I could read it straight out of the box. I could read it straight out of the box because there's something primal about this imagery. There's something, on a cellular level, I can read this deck. I understand, Witch of Cups. Ellen Lorenzi Prince changed the titles of the major arcana and the court cards, and it's okay. It's okay because usually I don't like it. I don't read this as a tarot. For me, tarot is a very specific thing, and I think it comes down to the fact that traditionally trained. How's that for a term? But I think it comes down to the fact that I typically read traditional tarot. And so this is for me, it's not Rider-Waite-Smith. It's not, the images are so, look at this, Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords. This is so evocative because the swords go into the image of the cloaked figure, the cloaked and hooded figure, and you see it's not blood. It's literally, this figure is breaking apart, and you could see the blue from behind shine through people. Brilliant. I love it. It's not for everybody. I realize that. And okay, maybe because I am a crone. But even as a kid, I always had an inner crone. I believe we all have an inner crone. But even if, male, female, doesn't matter what your gender is, we all have an inner crone. And this is just, yeah. So this is the mod job that I did this week. That's another thing too. As my as I got rid of, see, I'm doing this, and it's like just so I could see. Look, and you can't see it on camera, but it's staining my hands. Anyway, that's what I wanted to. As my deck collection, oh my God, I hate that word, people, because I shame myself when I say that word because I don't feel good about it. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel good about it. I'm saying I don't feel good about it. Anyway, my as my assortment of decks shrinks, it's happening. I'm bonding with the ones that remain, because the ones that remain, my process has been going through each deck over and over again, like combing for lice, basically. If you're a healthcare professional or you're a parent, you know what I'm saying, or teacher, you know what I mean. It's like combing for lice. Go through every deck. It was a process. It was a process over 2-3 months of going through every deck. And I still do that, and I was doing this nightly, going through every deck And, is it keep? Does this stay? Does this go? Is this FOMO? Is this fantasy self? And what remained, or what remains right now, because it's ongoing for me. It's a dynamic process, right? What's remaining right now, one by one, I'm bonding with the deck and its energy and the spirits within. And this is really what I was longing for when I posted that video months ago about how I missed when I only had one deck and how well I knew it and how well I was bonded to it. And I'm starting to approach that place again, and it feels incredible. So Tarot of the Crone, edged in black, black Sharpie on this beautiful smooth cardstock, staining my hands, but that's okay. The next deck mod I did it on a whim. I did it on a whim because I kept seeing other people's deck. And even though, and I did it on a whim because I don't feel, or at least not when I did the deck mod, I didn't feel that I knew the deck well enough to make it completely naked, to take away titles. Titles is one, keywords is one thing. You get rid of the keywords, doesn't matter. Like for me, it doesn't affect me. But the titles of this deck that I'm just getting to know made me was with a little trepidation. So I took my US Games copy, the first one that I ever purchased, and I trimmed it. I trimmed all the borders off, all the keywords, and then I edged it. So it's this. Scusi. It's this. This is the US Games green box, the jumbo or the large, not jumbo, the large Thoth, the large US Games Thoth. Now you'll see, I don't know if it'll capture on camera, but it's not, the Rosy Cross is not completely centered on the back of the card once you trim it, but it's close enough, and whatever. I do like the white borders being gone. Not gonna lie, it looks sexy like my greenie does. The backs. I edged it in gold Sharpie, which I gotta tell you, metallic Sharpies are hit or miss, huh? I started with a brand new one that was practically dry. Look, it's not even. And then I found an old one that wasn't completely dry. Like the new one in the package was dry. Anyway. Gold Sharpie. I think it looks nice. I might go over with the bronze one because I like the way my friends turned out with the bronze. And this, people, is what it looks like completely. I'm sure you've seen this before if you're watching Thoth deck videos. I did it with the really small corner rounder. At first I left the corners square, but I have these meaty paws, and the corner of the cards kept hurting my hands. I know, I'm so delicate. I also wash my hands like 100, 200 times a day, so yeah. Here's the thing. I thought, oh, well, this will be really challenging because, I was excited because I love the way it looks, completely trimmed like that. I love the artwork of this deck. And I was really excited, and I thought, oh, this is going to challenge me because once I remove the titles and the keywords, I won't know what cards these are. Or once I remove the titles, I won't know what they are. Well, turns out removing the titles and especially the keywords really opens this deck up, opens up the artwork, right? Because now it's the artwork dominates. And it was already, I found that I'm very compatible with Thoth. This is so easy to read. It blew my mind. Okay, it just blew my mind. The astrological symbolism, the artwork, the colors. Um, the colors. What happens when I removed the borders? I I saw how the color, how intentional. Like there's the artwork that's intentional, and the colors in the artwork is intentional, and it's just absolutely stunning. I love it, and I've already been using my vintage greenie for my daily draws since I want to say early September. Now I have this one with me all the time. I love this card. This is the Tower. I have this one with me all the time, and I just love it, love it, love it. Now, oh my God, this I think is my favorite death card of all time. Of every deck, of any deck I've seen, because not every, you know what I mean? But of any deck, any tarot deck I've seen, this is my favorite death card, bar none. All right, what else can I share with you? So Tarot of the Crone is independently produced. I think for that matter, it might be a little more spendy, and again, I'm mindful now when I show you stuff that I might, make you feel a little FOMO, and because I've experienced it, a little FOMO and or fantasy self or whatever, or go out and buy stuff, and that's not my intention. And to be honest, I want to say most of the decks I've kept are decks I've had for a while, mass market decks that are still, like I have multiple copies of Thoth. This is a favorite. Just like I have multiple versions of Thoth. I have my vintage greenie. I have this, and I have my small pocket Swiss. Same thing with Rider Waite. I have my Centennial. I have my Hoi Polloi. I have my vintage pre-copyright Rider Waite from US Games. So, a lot of the decks that are my workhorses, that are my favorites, are widely available, mass market. And I was watching, I need to do a shout out to a channel that I'm absolutely loving, Sylvain Demancy. I'm going to, if I have to make a note to remember to link him in the comment section below. He's from Montreal, or he's in Montreal. And his videos are in French, and I know that I have a lot of francophone people that watch my channel. So if you don't know about Sylvain Demancy, oh my God. First of all, Demancy. Moi, je me sens Demancy. Anyway, I love his channel. And he just recently did a video on the differences between, how do we feel about independently produced decks? How do we feel about these decks versus these decks, the mass market ones? And I loved what he said. He described, I think it was a True Black that he was featuring on his, and he was saying that his was like when he consults his Thoth, it's like his best bud. You know what I mean? It's his buddy who gives him advice, and about whether or not tarragon goes in spaghetti sauce, kind of thing. It's like a mundane day-to-day workhorse buddy friend kind of deck, and he doesn't care if something happens to it because it's widely available, it's mass produced, it's affordable, and if he wrecks that copy, loses it, whatever, he can always replace it. But then he was describing his relationship with his True Black deck, his True Black tarot. I'm pretty sure it's True Black, but if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But it's a very sexy independently produced deck that he's talking about. And he was saying how his relationship with this one is like, it's like a buddy he calls up to see, hey, what do you think of this? Whereas his independently produced deck, first of all, he feels like he's got to wear cotton gloves before he handles it because, oh my gosh, if something happens to it, right? They're expensive. They are. When you live in Canada, you really feel, I think Europe feels it too, in Australia. you really feel how expensive, because in some cases you're paying as much for postage as you are for the deck, sometimes even more. Anyway, I love the description he gave, that this one's his friend that he could just call up and ask for like advice on a pair of shoes or whatever. And this one is different. This is like his independently produced deck. It's like he has to climb this mountain to consult this monk and ask permission to speak with this incredibly spiritual person. And the description is killer, people. And I laughed out loud because he's so right. We treat these decks as special because of what we paid for them, how they're not, a lot of them are not readily available. They're limited runs, they're limited printings. A lot of them are out of print. Yeah, so Sylvain Demanty. I'm going to link to him below. Watch his channel. He's, I love him. Absolutely love him. I've been watching him, and yeah. You need to be watching him too. All right. The next deck I wanted to share with you is also a deck mod. I rehomed a bunch of decks, and some of them came back. Some of them came back, and there's a reason there, right? They're boomerang decks. So, like one deck came back, and I think it's because I felt bad that I let it go. It was an Oracle deck, so I was like really happy to see it come back. But there's one that surprised me that came back. Well, maybe not, because it was really modified when I rehomed it. And it's Tarot of the Sidhe. I rehomed Tarot of the Sidhe, both copies that I owned, and I think I mentioned it just in my last video because it had turned chaotic. I felt like, it was wonderful when I first got it. I felt that it was a real easy deck to read. I felt it was relatable for me. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know what I said. I probably even said it was like a great reader, which like, I hate the fact that I used to say that, because I'm a great reader. You're a great reader. It's not the cards that are great readers. Anyway. The one that came back, so I rehomed two. I rehomed the one that just had the sides trimmed, and I left the top titles and the bottom keywords on. And my completely naked one where I rewrote. This is one that I had trimmed the boards. I trimmed all the black borders off the fronts. And so it's not bad because the glyph is pretty much intact when you do that. That fell in my tea. Okay, I'm just wiping it on my pants, on my pant leg. What was Sylvain saying? It's good when you love a mass market deck, because if you damage it, okay. All right. Remove the mug. Okay. So I removed the black borders on this one. This is the one that was completely naked. And then after I removed the black borders when I first got it, I then edged it in the dominant color of each card. It's starting to wear, although it looks more worn on camera than it does in person. And then, because I was reading the deck and I was reading it like a tarot, I wanted the titles back. So I went to a flip through on YouTube. This is a couple of years ago when I got this in 2018. I went through a flip through on YouTube, stopped it, and rewrote each title at the top and the keywords on the bottom in black Sharpie. When it came back to me, I thought, well, yeah, you know what? I did put a lot of work into this, and I guess it's, it's bonded to me just from being handled by me and having all this modification done to it. But I put it down, and it was, I realized that the words had to go. So I think it was a weeknight. I had to work the next day because I went to work with my fingertips all black from. I used alcohol swabs like we use in nursing, right? To swab before you give an injection or something like that. And I had a box that in my house because I'm a nurse. I have all kinds of weird stuff in my house. But anyway, I took all the words off, people. Each card with an alcohol swab and some elbow grease. Top and bottom. Completely naked. And it was so much fun. But what a revelation that as I wiped the words off, I could see the cards. And then, you know what? It was the same kind of thing with the Thoth. I love my Thoth. I love all of the ones I have, right? But here I thought if I took the words away, I wouldn't know what the cards are. And no, if anything, with Tarot of the Sidhe, it was chaotic with the titles and the keywords. It was almost as if these images did not agree with the titles and the keywords assigned to them. Because when I wiped the words off, now if I could throw down like 3 cards, 6 cards. I get very, very clear, concise, profound readings from it. Whether it's 1 card, 6, 12, whatever. I tried it out, people. And some of the cards, I don't remember what they were. Other ones, I could, like this one I know is 8 of Wands. Because, this fiery dragon energy in flight, right? But there's other cards that there's many of the cards where once the words were removed, the meaning of the painting of the image came through and asserted itself, and it was just, anyways, it was like getting a brand new deck, people. It really was. It was, yeah. So no longer chaotic. The chaos was literally the words for me at that time, or in the present moment after a bit of a journey with this deck. It was the words competing for my attention over the images and the energy of the deck. So Tarot of the Sidhe. I'm going to be reworking the box. I don't view this as I view it as a deck. I view it as a deck, not even oracle, just a deck of Sidhe. Anyway, so I'm gonna probably do something with this box because I find that there's something incongruent for me at this stage right now, calling this a tarot. So I'm probably going to rework the box, and this is the Schiffer card that came with it. I'm probably going to do some kind of black box with a glyph on it. I'm feeling crafty. All right. And last but not least, I want to introduce you to, I do have a new deck. In this process, what happened was I started the process of divesting myself of decks that didn't resonate, and I still had decks in the ether that were being, that I had ordered that hadn't been shipped to me yet or hadn't been delivered. I think I have a few that have been sent to me. I received some as gifts. I received some in a trade. And this was one that I purchased. And this is, I think, I'm trying to remember, but I'm almost certain that this is the last deck I purchased once I started the cull, right? And I freaking love it. It's the Serpent and the Peacock. Is that right? Yeah, Serpent and the Peacock. I saw this on Nancy Texas Rose's channel, and I knew I had to have it. I knew I had to have this deck because I'm drawn to this medieval imagery. This is what I wanted Cat Black's Golden Tarot to be, and that was a complete miss for me. The collage was just too obvious. Here, some of these cards, the collage is a little more obvious, right? When you have like these pentacles, right? But I don't know, I find that this artist did a really good job with the collage. And I love this medieval art with these, with bits of medieval transcripts or manuscripts. This is one of the more clunkier cards I find in terms of the artwork, like, you know, the way the cups are situated, but some of them are, look at this, Four of Wands. And I fell in love with this deck when I saw it on Nancy's channel. Then I asked her about it, and I love that it has Pixie's font on the cards, so it harkens back to a deck that I've been using since the very beginning. I love the choices for the cards, but what I really love, and let me see if I could find them. Okay, I love this Devil. I love the creatures. To me, it's got a Monty Python Flying Circus kind of vibe, and it has a Sesame Street vibe. Like early, like I'm old enough to have seen early, like first season Sesame Street, and you got the Monty Python's Flying Circus vibe here, and let me show you my favorite. Okay, I have many favorite. Let me try to narrow it down because it's not a flip through video. But oh my god, this is my Eight of Swords is my card. Whenever I pick up any tarot deck and I ask it who am I, it'll invariably, the Eight of Swords is one of the first cards, if not the first card. And I love this. These monsters look like early Sesame Street monsters. Yeah. It's very strange, but it speaks to my inner child. Oh my god, this Potato Man. I don't even know what he is. I just love him. Potato Man, maybe? Oh my god, Ten of Wands, people. There's, of course, because it's medieval, you know, it's images taken from medieval art and medieval manuscripts, right? So there's Christian imagery in it, but like we're talking like old Christian imagery. And it's just, I love this card. Okay, like here's another one. Again with the cups. The cup suit, some of the collage is a little clunky. This is where you could see that, you know, these cups are just like, you know, glued onto these guys. But I forgive this one. I couldn't forgive the Influence of the Angels. Oh my god. That deck was beautiful except for two cards, and one of them being my favorite card in the tarot deck of any tarot deck, in any tarot deck, is the Eight of Cups. That one was so bad I had to rehome it. Okay, one more. The Moon. Like I said, it's not a flip through. So Serpent and the Peacock. I got mine on eBay. It came with the tin. It came in the tin, and it came with a guidebook. Now, the one thing I don't know, it's because I'm one of those people that I make up my mind about something without actually having the information. Like, you know, it's like I invent the information in my head. I thought the guidebook would describe where the images came from, like the origin of them, but it doesn't. It's just a tarot guidebook. So if you're new to tarot, it's like, you know, it's a very good, like it's a very good guidebook, but it doesn't talk about the artwork. It talks about the meanings of the cards, which I don't really need. All right. Whew, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about when I sat down. I didn't know where this video was going to go, but here we are. It's 50 minutes. 50 minutes. And I think I talked about everything I wanted to talk about today. There may be another video. I'm not sure. I just wanted to, do something a little lighthearted. Wish you all a happy holiday. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. You know what I mean? It's like if you can visit with people on you could do it old school, like with a phone call or Zoom or Skype or, FaceTime, whatever you prefer as your method of communication, texting, whatever. Keep in touch with each other. This time of year is hard already for a lot of people. It's very emotionally charged. There's extreme loneliness that sets in this time of year. So if there's anyone you know that would benefit from you reaching out, and even sometimes you don't even know, just reach out. If like the urge strikes you to reach out to someone, reach out to them, because Spirit could be sending you to reach out to someone who really, really needs it. All right, sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Ciao.